God will visit you in dreams if you do this Yogananda's teachings. What if I told you that tonight, when you close your eyes to sleep, you could have a direct conversation with God? I'm not talking about something symbolic or mystical, but a real, tangible encounter where you can feel His presence comforting you, guiding you, answering you while you sleep. Over a century ago, Paramahansa Yogananda, the spiritual master who brought yoga to the West, revealed a secret that changed the lives of thousands of people, that sleeping hours can become the most sacred moment of your day. A time where your soul can converse with the infinite without the distractions of the world. Does it sound impossible? Stay with me for the next few minutes, and you'll discover ancient techniques that can completely transform your nighttime experience. Have you ever wondered what it would really be like to talk with God? Not in a distant or symbolic way, but in a deeply personal and intimate connection where you can open your heart, express your deepest questions, your most secret longings, and in return, feel the unmistakable presence of the divine responding to you, comforting you, guiding you, even in your dreams. Most of us lie believing that God is somewhere far away, perhaps listening from a distance, intervening only on extraordinary occasions. But Paramahansa Yogananda, one of the greatest spiritual masters of the 20th century and author of the spiritual classic, Autobiography of a Yogi, offers us a radically different perspective. He taught that God is closer than our own breath, closer than our thoughts, and that we can speak with Him not only in meditation, not only through prayer during the day, but even while we sleep. Yes, Yogananda boldly declared that your moments of rest can be transformed into sacred hours of divine communion. Imagine closing your eyes at night, not just to escape the world, but to enter a deeper world, a realm where you consciously carry your love for God with you, chanting His name as you immerse yourself in sleep until your dreams illuminate with His presence. For countless generations, human beings have directed their gaze toward the heavens, yearning to build a bridge between the finite and the infinite. Is it really possible for man to speak with God? To receive a tangible and unmistakable response? Paramahansa Yogananda emphatically answers, yes, not as a philosophical concept, but as a living and pulsating reality, available to every soul that seeks sincerely. In his timeless work, How You Can Talk with God, Yogananda assures us, talking with God is not mere abstraction or an act of imagination. It is a definite, dynamic, and glorious experience. Yogananda insisted that the divine is not a distant deity sitting in the clouds, but the vital force that animates our breath, the presence that silently pulses behind every thought, and the joy that subtly calls us home amid the noise of mundane life. This communion with God is not reserved exclusively for saints, prophets, or mystics. Each of us carries within the sacred capacity to establish this living connection. It's not a one-way monologue where we petition God with endless lists of desires and fears, but a sincere dialogue where the divine response is as clear, personal, and comforting as a mother's to her child. God is closer than the closest, Yogananda used to remind his disciples, closer than your own thoughts. And this closeness is not meant to be recognized only in moments of crisis or religious ceremonies, but in the silent and intimate spaces of our daily life, and especially in the sanctity of our sleep. In fact, Yogananda taught that divine communication becomes more vivid and unobstructed when the restless waves of the conscious mind calm down, when the storm of desires and distractions settles into stillness. It is then, in the tender vulnerability of the subconscious state, the bridge between waking and sleeping, where the soul can commune most naturally with its creator. Sleep as sacred portal. Paramahansa Yogananda considered sleep not as a meaningless interruption in our waking life, but as a sacred opportunity for the soul to retreat toward the subtle realms of spirit. In his teachings, he often described sleep as a little death, a nightly retreat of the senses from the external world, where mind and body temporarily relinquish their control over material reality. But for the sincere spiritual seeker, this period need not be solely a descent into unconsciousness. Yogananda urged his devotees to make sleep a conscious pilgrimage toward God, a time when the heart, no longer preoccupied with mundane responsibilities, can rise unimpeded toward divine communion. He composed a beautiful poem, God, 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 to be repeated silently through the rhythms of daily life, upon awakening, eating, working, dreaming, and sleeping. In the halls of sleep, at the altars of sleep, Yogananda wrote, "My soul will constantly sing, unheard by anyone, God, God, God." This simple yet profound practice was meant to train the mind and heart to carry God consciousness through all states of being until even the deepest moments of sleep become imbued with His presence. It is in sleep, Yogananda explained, where the soul sheds the heavy garment of ego and approaches, even briefly, its native state of peace. If one prepares the mind with love for God before sleeping, that state can blossom into direct spiritual experience. The scriptures also reflect this wisdom. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna reminds Arjuna that the yogi remains balanced in success and failure, in pleasure and pain, in waking, in sleep, and in deep sleep. And in the Bible, we find moments where God speaks to prophets and seekers through dreams, as when He came to Solomon in a night vision and offered divine guidance. If you wish to delve deeper into these transformative teachings and explore other ancient spiritual secrets, I invite you to subscribe to the Divine Karma Path channel, where every week we share ancestral wisdom to elevate your consciousness and connect with your true divine nature. Preparation for Nocturnal Communion. Yogananda taught that communion with God does not happen by accident. It is the natural result of a heart that sincerely yearns for the divine and a mind prepared to receive it. To converse with God in sleep, one must approach bedtime not merely as a physical necessity, but as a sacred ritual, a gentle retreat from the world, and an inward turn toward the eternal beloved. Evening meditation. Yogananda first emphasized the importance of evening meditation. Before surrendering to sleep, he advised, take time to quiet the body, calm the mind, and direct the heart upward in prayer and meditation. Be still, Yogananda would say, and know that you are a child of God, destined to reunite with Him in the sanctuary of your soul. When the mind becomes peaceful in meditation, you naturally approach the divine presence that lies within you, just behind the restless surface of thought. This practice of nocturnal meditation does not require hours of practice. Even 10 to 15 minutes of conscious breathing, of quieting the day's thoughts, and directing your attention inward can create the sacred atmosphere necessary for divine communion. Pious affirmations. Next, Yogananda encouraged the use of pious affirmations. Offer a sincere invocation to God, speaking to Him as your closest and dearest companion. Tell Him of your desire to feel His presence even in sleep, to dream of Him, and to awaken with your soul still singing His name. Words spoken sincerely before sleep, Yogananda taught, possess special potency as the subconscious absorbs them and begins working on them throughout the night. Some powerful affirmations he recommended include, Divine Father Mother, stay with me while I sleep. May my dreams be filled with your light and love. I awaken in your sacred presence. My soul seeks you in every breath, even while I sleep. The power of devotional chanting. Chanting also held a place of profound importance in Yogananda's teachings. He recommended singing softly or mentally repeating a simple devotional chant like, Om Guru, gate of my heart, I keep open for you, or simply God, God, God. This devotional repetition calms scattered thoughts and establishes a sacred vibration within your consciousness, allowing you to enter sleep already immersed in the thought of God. The power of sacred sound, especially Om, was considered by Yogananda as one of the most powerful tools for spiritual transformation. Sacred visualization. Finally, Yogananda suggested the practice of visualization. As you lie in bed, imagine yourself enveloped in a radiant and warm light, the living presence of God, embracing you like a mother cradling her child. Imagine yourself resting in divine arms, the light permeating your entire being. Go to sleep with the thought of God cradling you in His arms, Yogananda said, and when you awaken, you will find Him still there. Specific techniques for nocturnal practice. Yogananda, always the compassionate spiritual guide, did not leave seekers adrift with vague ideals, but offered precise and loving techniques to carry God consciousness from waking into the mysterious realms of sleep. Continuous repetition of the divine name. One of the simplest yet most powerful techniques Yogananda shared was the continuous and silent repetition of God's name. Whether you call him Father, Divine Mother, Krishna, Christ, or use the universal vibration of Thum, what matters is the love and constancy behind it. Yogananda urged his disciples to silently repeat their chosen divine name or mantra while immersing themselves in sleep, letting it be the final vibration on their lips and in their hearts. He taught that when the conscious mind surrenders to sleep, the subconscious continues this sacred repetition, and in doing so, the thread of communion with God remains unbroken throughout the night. Conscious breathing with devotion. Another technique he offered was conscious awareness of breathing infused with devotion. As you lie in bed, place your consciousness on the gentle entry and exit of your breath, mentally affirming with each inhalation, "I am yours," and with each exhalation, "You are mine." This practice creates a rhythm of loving remembrance that calms the nervous system and draws the mind toward divine stillness. Yogananda explained that this practice harmonizes the heart's currents with the breath, leading the soul deeper into divine consciousness even after the senses withdraw. Advanced mental visualization. Yogananda also emphasized the practice of mental visualization before sleep. He advised disciples to imagine the vast and luminous form of God, perhaps as radiant light, or the compassionate face of Christ, Krishna, or the Divine Mother, watching over them lovingly. This visualization must be charged with sincere devotion, not mere imagination. See God's light shining upon you, around you, and within you, Yogananda instructed, and let yourself sleep in that presence. Silent gratitude practice. Finally, he recommended offering silent prayers of gratitude before sleep, thanking God for every experience of the day, pleasant or challenging, as expressions of his divine will. This practice purifies the heart, calms the restless mind, and attunes the soul to a frequency receptive to divine communion in sleep. The language of divine dreams. Paramahansa Yogananda often spoke of dreams not as random flashes of the subconscious mind, but as windows into more subtle dimensions of consciousness. He explained that when we sleep, the physical senses withdraw and the conscious mind quiets, allowing the soul to experience more subtle realities, some colored by our own thoughts and desires, and others touched by divine inspiration. In this twilight realm between waking and deep sleep, God, saints, and higher beings sometimes choose to transmit messages, offer guidance, or provide comfort to the sincere seeker. Yogananda called these sacred dreams a precious medium through which the infinite communicates with the individual soul. How to discern divine dreams. To discern a divinely inspired dream from an ordinary one, Yogananda advised observing its aftereffects. If a dream brings lasting peace, wisdom, and a deeper yearning for God, it likely carries the touch of the divine. If it confuses the mind or awakens worldly desires, it arises from the lower subconscious. Divine dreams have distinctive characteristics. They leave a sense of deep peace that endures after awakening. They often contain clear teachings or guidance. They may present luminous figures or sacred presences. They bring mental clarity instead of confusion. They inspire greater devotion and spiritual practice. Recording sacred experiences. Yogananda encouraged seekers to maintain a dream journal, noting any significant dreams upon awakening and reflecting on their deeper meaning. He also referenced ancient scriptures like the Bible, where God communicated with prophets through dreams, and the Bhagavad Gita, which speaks of the yogi's balanced consciousness in waking, sleep, and deep sleep. He assured his disciples that with continued devotion and correct practice, God would use even the silent hours of sleep to guide, instruct, and bless his child. Real experiences of divine presence. Paramahansa Yogananda lovingly assured his devotees that not only is it possible to experience God in sleep, but for the sincere seeker, it is one of the most tender and intimate encounters with the divine. He often spoke of how, When the senses withdraw and the body quiets, the soul approaches closer to its native state, temporarily freed from the distractions of the external world. In this silent sanctuary of sleep, if one has cultivated love for God during waking hours, His presence can descend like a gentle mist, surrounding the sleeping devotee with peace, light, and joy. Varieties of divine experiences. Yogananda described how the experiences one might have in sleep vary according to each person's inner purity, devotion, and spiritual effort. Luminous presence. For some, it might come as a luminous presence, an unlimited feeling of bliss, or a profound light that envelopes the being. Celestial music. Others might hear celestial music or receive a clear and loving voice within, offering guidance or tranquility. Visions of divine beings. Many devotees have recounted appearances of the Divine Mother, Christ, Krishna, or their gurus, smiling and speaking words of comfort or blessing. Expanded states of consciousness. Advanced practitioners may experience states where they feel one with infinite light or immersed in an ocean of peace and love. Yogananda's personal testimony. In his own life, Yogananda shared moments when, during sleep, he found himself in higher realms, conscious, lucid, and united with his guru or immersed in an ocean of light and peace. He emphasized that these experiences are not confined to saints or mystics, but are the natural birthright of every soul that sincerely seeks the infinite. The spiritual science of conscious sleep. Yogananda explained that there is a spiritual science behind maintaining divine consciousness during sleep. It is not magic or superstition, but the natural result of specific spiritual laws. The law of vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates at specific frequencies. Thoughts of love, devotion, and seeking God create elevated vibrations that attract spiritual experiences, even during sleep. When you fill your mind with divine thoughts before sleeping, you establish a vibration that continues resonating in your subconscious consciousness. The law of spiritual magnetism. As you think, so you attract, Yogananda taught. If your thoughts are saturated with love for God, your being becomes a magnet that attracts divine experiences. This law works both in waking state and during sleep. The law of continuity of consciousness. Consciousness does not completely shut off during sleep. It simply changes focus. Advanced yogis learn to maintain a subtle thread of consciousness even during the deepest sleep. This ability develops gradually through constant practice. Obstacles and how to overcome them. Yogananda recognized that not everyone would immediately experience divine communion in sleep and offered compassionate guidance for overcoming common obstacles. The restless mind. Problem. Many find that their mind is too agitated to experience peace, even during sleep. Solution. Yogananda recommended beginning with longer periods of meditation before sleep until the mind learns to quiet naturally. Unrealistic expectations. Problem. Some expect dramatic experiences immediately and become discouraged when they don't occur. Solution. Patience is the devotee's greatest virtue, Yogananda said. Divine experiences come at the perfect divine timing, not according to our schedule. Doubts and skepticism. Problem. The rational mind may doubt the possibility of such experiences. Solution. Yogananda advised practicing with faith, remembering that thousands of devotees throughout history have testified to these experiences. Inconsistency in practice. Problem. Practicing only occasionally does not produce sustained results. Solution. Establish a consistent nighttime routine, no matter how simple it may be at first. Integrating the practice in modern life. Yogananda understood the challenges of modern life and adapted his teachings to be practicable in any circumstance. For the busy worker, even if you have only 5 minutes before sleep, you can breathe deeply 3 times while repeating a divine name. Offer a brief prayer of gratitude. Visualize divine light surrounding you. For parents with small children, parents can teach their children simple prayers before sleep. Create a family atmosphere of nighttime peace. Use moments of nighttime feeding as opportunities for silent prayer. For people with insomnia, Yogananda suggested that insomnia often cures itself naturally when the mind is filled with divine thoughts instead of worldly worries. The Sacred Awakening. Yogananda taught that the way you wake up is as important as the way you fall asleep. He recommended the first moments. Before opening your eyes, offer gratitude for any experience of the night. Remain still for a few moments, remembering any dreams or divine sensations. Set a loving intention for the beginning day. Recording experiences. Keep a journal beside your bed to immediately note any significant experience. Don't judge experiences as successful or failed. Observe patterns over time. Carrying peace into the day. Try to maintain the peace experienced in sleep during your daily activities. Use moments of stillness during the day to remember the divine presence. Practice seeing each day as a continuation of your nighttime practice. Dear friends and seekers on the path, as we come to the end of this sacred reflection, let us remember that the journey toward God is not confined to temples, meditation halls, or the fleeting hours of spiritual practice. Paramahansa Yogananda lovingly taught that every moment, awake or asleep, is an opportunity to draw closer to the beloved. Sleep, too, is a temple, a silent sanctuary where the restless mind finds repose and the soul, if prepared, can commune with the infinite. Yogananda assured us again and again, God is always near, closer than breath, closer than hands and feet, tenderly waiting for the child to call. If you truly desire to experience God in your sleep, begin tonight. Do not wait for a distant day when circumstances feel perfect, because perfection lies within your yearning heart. Begin with a simple prayer, a soft chant, a tender thought of God as you rest your head on the pillow. Surrender your worries, your fears, and your hopes to Him. Whisper His name. Visualize His light around you. Affirm your love, however imperfect, and ask Him to keep you in His consciousness throughout the night. As Yogananda beautifully declared, go to sleep thinking of God, and you will awaken in His arms. And if you do this faithfully, night after night, there will come a day when you will not fall asleep in unconscious forgetfulness, but in sweet remembrance, and you will awaken to find that His presence never left you. Join our spiritual community. If this message has touched your heart, dear soul, I invite you to be part of the Divine Karma Path family. Subscribe to our channel to receive more timeless teachings from Paramahansa Yogananda, ancestral wisdom, and practical guidance for your soul's journey. Every week, we share content that can transform your spiritual life and bring you closer to the direct experience of the divine. Share this video with a friend or loved one who walks the spiritual path. Leave a comment below about your experiences or intentions to commune with God in sleep, because by sharing, we lift each other up. Activate notifications so you don't miss any of our transformative teachings, and join the thousands of seekers who are already experiencing divine presence in their lives. Until we meet again, may your nights be filled with divine light, and your heart eternally echo with the sacred name of God. Om. Peace. Amen.